What's going on, everybody? It's Griffin back at it again with another video. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be counting down the 10 best rides at Six Flags over Texas. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so that way you know when new videos get uploaded, and go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So in our countdown, we're going to be covering any ride at Six Flags over Texas. It can be a flat ride, it could be a roller coaster, because there aren't enough roller coasters to do a top 10 video, and if we did, we would just, I don't have a lot of footage from those rides, so to avoid any copyright problems, we're just going to stick to 10 rides overall. So coming in at number 10, we have the Joker. The Joker is an S&S free spin. It's been operating in the park since May of 2017. Manufactured by none other than S&S Worldwide. It is a free spin coaster. Total height of 120 feet, going to top speed to 38 miles per hour. This ride, nothing too crazy and nothing too insane about this ride. You go up a straight vertical lift hill, and then you just kind of spin and kind of do miniature bunny camel hop hills. Nothing too crazy, but it's fun enough to make it to our number 10 on the list. Coming in at the number 9 spot is Harley Quinn Spin Sanity. This ride has been in the park since the summer of 2018. Ride height of about 70 feet. You can get up to about 3.5 G's on this ride. When the ride first opened, this ride was in its prime when it first opened. Now the ride is just, it's blah, because the ride starts out really good, starts out going fast, it spins really fast, you get a lot of good things happening, and then about halfway through the ride, the momentum just kind of dies out, and it just kind of meanders there and spins incoherently. It's good enough to ride and definitely something to check out, but I would not consider it to be like a top tier ride, which is why it's on the number 9 spot. Coming in at the number 8 spot is Pandemonium. Pandemonium is a spin roller coaster manufactured by Gerstlauer. It's been operating in the park since about 2008. The cars on this ride are actually really good because of the restraints. The restraints are really cool. They're lap restraints, and so they're not really too constricting. You can throw your hands up and have a lot of fun. The reason that it's on the list is because the trim brakes. Like, the trim brakes can make or break this ride. If you ride this ride at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, you're going to notice that trim brakes are extremely significant on this ride, and they slow it down a lot. Unfortunately, since about May, I've been riding this ride at Six Flags over Texas, and the trim brakes have been off, and it makes this ride so much better, which is why this ride is coming in at the number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7 is Superman Tower of Power. This is one of 4 Superman Tower of Powers in the chain. One is located at Six Flags over Georgia, Six Flags St. Louis, Six Flags over Texas, and Kentucky Kingdom. You know what they say, everything is bigger in Texas. So this ride has a total height of 325 feet with a drop height of 245 feet, reaching top speeds of about 55 miles per hour. It's manufactured by S&S Worldwide. You need to be 52 inches to ride it, obviously. You know, why not? You can get up to a max of about 4 G's on the launch, but this ride's pretty fun. If you're not like, don't have a problem with heights or whatever, and you're just looking for a really fun ride and a really exhilarating ride, this is really fun. Over the chest restraints, obviously. It is a drop tower. It is the tallest drop tower in the Six Flags chain, with the exception of Six Flags Great Adventure with the King Decal's drop tower. That sucker's like 410 feet. So, but in the Superman Tower of Power chain, so to speak, is definitely the tallest. But it's definitely fun. I definitely recommend checking out if you want an adrenaline rush and you're not afraid of heights or you want to get over your fear of heights. Ask Megan. This is definitely the way to do it. Coming in at the number 6 spot is none other than the infamous Batman the Ride. Batman the Ride debuted at the park in May of 1999. So this ride is 21 years old, and this ride is still running, and it's still a beast. Batman the Ride is manufactured by B&M. It's a steel inverted roller coaster, SLC, suspended loop coaster. Has a chain lift hill, excuse me, with a height of about 105 feet, reaching top speeds of 50 miles per hour, 2,700 feet of track, and you get up to about 4 Gs. If you're going to Six Flags over Texas to have fun, definitely ride this. Definitely ride it. This is the original Batman ride. Everything else that's at other parks are kind of like clones of this ride, but this is the original. Now, here recently, they just started running this ride on full capacity, and we were riding it earlier in the year when it was running at like 25% capacity, 50% capacity, 75% capacity. But riding this thing with a full car, man, this thing fucking hauls, dude. It is so much fun. Like I rode it for the first time back in June, and it was fun, because it's my first time riding it. Then we went this past weekend to ride it, and the entire train was full. And me and Megan both said this thing was way better. It was way more fun, but definitely make it. It is definitely a really great ride, which is why it's number 6. Coming in at the number 5 spot is Riddler's Revenge. Riddler's Revenge has been in the park since 2016. It replaced the Boomerang ride, which is kind of like Flashback, if you guys remember that. That ride actually got moved to Six Flags St. Louis. It's manufactured by a name I can't pronounce. It reaches a height of 146 feet. This is a pendulum ride. And if you haven't rode this ride and you like high thrills and you like adrenaline and you like fun, definitely check it out. The thing that I really like the most about this ride is when you're at the highest point of the ride, or hell, not even at the highest point, but like halfway, you can feel the lateral forces on the ride pushing you down, and you're not really loose in your seat a whole bunch. So when you're falling down, it's not like the evidence of free falling, because the lateral forces are kind of keeping you in your seat, so to speak. But it's definitely a fun ride. The biggest recommendation that I have for other enthusiasts and other people that like high thrill rides, when you get up to the middle, or even start getting up to the highest point of the pendulum, I would definitely recommend throwing those hands up, because you're not having fun unless you're throwing your hands up, right? Right. Okay, just making sure. But yeah, throw your hands up, have some fun. This ride slaps, so definitely give it a shot. Coming in at the number 4 spot is Titan. Titan is the only hypercoaster in the state of Texas. So Steel Eel is not a hypercoaster, although some people refer to it as a hypercoaster. Steel Eel at SeaWorld San Antonio. Titan is the only official hypercoaster in the state of Texas, reaching total height of 245 feet with a drop of 255 feet, going up to top speeds of about 85 miles per hour with a 65-degree first drop. This is supposed to be a version of a clone of the Goliath coaster at Six Flags over Georgia. But this ride really suffers on natural ride elements. This ride had so much potential. But there really aren't any really good enthusiast moments in this ride. There's no airtime in this ride. There's no the only good part about the ride is the double helix towards right before the mid-course break, and then there's another just regular helix afterwards. But the mid-course break run destroys all momentum for this ride, and which is why it's on the number 4 spot. Coming in at the number 3 spot is Shockwave. Shockwave is by far one of my favorite rides there. I ride it every time I go. Um, they had a grand opening for the ride back in 1978. At the time when it opened, it was the tallest complete circuit roller coaster in the world, standing at 116 feet tall. Um, so at the time in 1978, that was a pretty good thing. Now here in 2020, 116 feet tall roller coaster is like nothing. So, but it definitely is the highest G-force roller coaster in the United States, reaching G-forces of 5.9 Gs, reaching top speeds of 60 miles per hour with a 105-foot drop and 3,600 feet of track. Um, if you want to get the best rider experience on this ride, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Ride this thing in the back. Ride it in the very back. If you have a friend with you, ride it with them. You're going to see as you come over some of those hills after the double loop, you're going to see the significant amount of airtime. And the airtime makes it, oh my God, it makes it so fun in the back. And you get some airtime in the middle, but if you want the best rider experience and the most airtime, ride this sucker in the back. This definitely is a must ride, and I definitely would recommend this for the general public and for any enthusiast going to the park. Coming in at the number 2 spot is the New Texas Giant. The New Texas Giant opened at the park in April of 2011. It was a refurbished version of the Texas Giant, which was an all-wooden roller coaster, manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction, or RMC. New Texas Giant is the original RMC. They're the ride that started the entire RMC chain. Now, at least once a year, RMC will go in and they'll refurbish a ride. They also came out with Wonder Woman, Golden Lasso Coaster, Railblazer. They refurbished Iron Rattler, Twisted Colossus, and along with many, many others. But this ride reaches a total height of 153 feet, reaching top speeds of 65 miles per hour. No inversions, with a first drop of 79 degrees, with a drop length of 147 feet, with almost 5,000 feet of track. Six Flags Over Texas poured about $10 million into refurbishing this ride. And after riding the original Texas Giant and then riding this one, I have to say this one is by far the better ride. Like any other serious ride, I ride this thing every time I go. If I'm there at nighttime, I'll ride it once in the daytime, and then I'll ride it once at night. When you ride this thing at night, there is like nothing there. You can't see anything from where you're going, which that makes the ride that much more better. There's a lot of good airtime moments in this ride. Like this hill here, you're coming towards the queue line. There's a good amount of airtime there. Overall, this is a really great and really smooth ride. Definitely better than its predecessor, the Texas Giant. The Texas Giant was a pretty rough ride. It's pretty rough, but this one is higher, it's faster, it's smoother. So I would definitely recommend riding this. Coming in at the number 1 spot, anybody that's been in my channel already knew what it was going to be. Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. By far one of the best rides in the park. It's been operating in the park since 1998. Although, when the ride first opened, this ride had over-the-shoulder chest restraints. And back in 2002, the trains were redone, and they were replaced with lap bars. The ride ran, at this time, the ride ran launching from a forward position, and it was just called Mr. Freeze. In 2012, the trains were kind of put in reverse, and the ride launched backwards, and then ran the course forwards afterwards on the return home. Then it was, they left it that way, and then they renamed it for a new grand opening and called it Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. There's a 150-foot tall top hat. The ride reaches a total height of 218 feet. Not considered a hypercoaster because the drop is only 194 feet. Reaching top speeds of 70 miles per hour. The ride launch at the beginning launches you from 0 to 7 in 3.8 seconds using the LIM launches. You get a 140-degree overbank turns, about 113 feet tall, and you go up to the 218-foot tall vertical spike. After the vertical spike, if you want the best ride experience, the vertical spike, you want to ride in the front back part, because you get to go up to the highest point. And when you're coming over that top hat, riding in the back, you get some hella freaking hang time coming back. So it's amazing. You get that one inversion, the 150-foot top hat at the beginning or at the end, whichever way you look at it. Great ride. LIM launch. I really think that these things are outdated because they mess up so much. But this is definitely my favorite ride. And in my opinion, one of the best rides in the park. We just rode this thing at night, and with Harley in the park going on, it's still a fun ride. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when riding it at night and you're coming back from that vertical spike and over that top hat, I would just be aware of those spotlights that they have on the ride, because those things will blind you till, oh my God, they'll blind the shit out of you. But it's still fun to ride. The blinding of the lights doesn't take away from the ride. This ride queue will last for hours and hours and hours for a 40-second ride. People wait in line for Mr. Freeze for about 2 hours to get a 40-second ride, because it's pretty intense. It's really great. This line actually moves pretty quick, as they run 2 train ops on a rotating system. So there's always a train moving in and out of the station at all times. So the line for this thing, it's always moving. With them running at full capacity, the wait times on this thing is really not all that bad. Texas Giant is going to have longer wait times because their operations on that ride is not as good as it is on Mr. Freeze. But the rider operators on Mr. Freeze have always seemed to be able to move this ride along a lot better. They seem to move it along a lot faster. They seem to be racing to see who can, making a game out of, getting in and get them out. They run quite a few riders per hour through this ride, which is another reason why it's on the #1 spot, is because the rider operations on this ride are just phenomenal. The Six Flags workers do a great job of moving people in, moving people out, and doing it in a safe way. Well, that's going to do it, man. Is there a ride that wasn't on this list that you thought should have been on this list? If there is, let me know in the comments what you think should have been on this list. And if you made it all the way to the end, leave me a comment below that says #made it to the end. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, as it helps out the channel a lot. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye. Bye. All right.